Welcome back, guys. Here's another episode of Horizons with Sirlution, also known as Ragemore, on the Sirlution Gaming channel. Here we are at our house, and today I thought we'd do just a couple things, so let's get started. Biggest thing, let's start with Pam's HarvestCraft. That's always our first recipe, so let's go ahead and just create a recipe. So I gathered some materials, and I thought for today we would make fried rice. So I got a skillet, a mixing bowl, eggs, or you could substitute tofu, carrots, rice, and some onions. And I got all that from my garden area. So we'll go ahead and put that in there. So we have a skillet, and we have a mixing bowl, we have an egg, we have some carrots, some rice, and some onions. And there we go. We get a few fried rice. So I'm going to go ahead and make a couple. And that is a good hearty meal. Save the rest for later. We'll go put this stuff back. And then once we get hungry, towards the end of the episode, we'll go ahead and eat some fried rice and maybe have a little strawberry smoothie. So what have I been working on? Well, mostly never open your door with your bags. Mostly I've been cleaning up some areas and doing some more mining, getting some more materials, setting up some quarries and stuff, and I'll probably show you that in maybe the next episode. For today, though, I think what I wanted to show you was the farm that I've got going. It's going to be a little loud. I'll try to quiet it down if I can, but I apologize if it's too loud. So up here we have a farm. And as you can see, we're using, let me see if I can get to a corner that's not so loud. Nope, that's going to be pretty loud. Let's see if I can get just out of sight there. That's probably pretty good. Okay, so as you can see here, I'm using the rotary craft fans to go ahead and push and replant certain types of plants. It seems like all the Pam's HarvestCraft stuff works. Wheat works, canola works. Witchery does not seem to work. So we'll have to, I don't know what I'll do with that, if I'm even going to do any witchery. I'm using a sprinkler to keep everything hydrated. And as you can see, I'm finally found a use for the windmills, although probably not the most cost-efficient way to run your farm. You probably could do this with one engine and then a bunch of gearboxes and shafts to go ahead and run just one engine to run all the fans. But I was bound and determined to find a reason or a way to use windmills for something useful. So in this case, I created a big giant windmill farm, as you can see in the shape of a W. I'll probably dress that up a little bit better, but now I have a bunch of windmills, and they're pushing that in the seeds and the different crops to the regular hoppers. And then that goes into these chests that I created, a bunch of reinforced zinc. That's usually, I think that's what I'm using zinc for mostly, is just reinforced chests at this point. And then I put the glass over it to make sure, because it was kind of blowing past a little bit. And then as you can see here, all the stuff we're getting. So I just set this up. It's been running for a little while, and we're already not doing too bad. We're definitely going to have lots of seeds, but we're going to be able to make lots of different food and stuff, and that's a good thing. So the sprinklers being ran off the water system that we saw in the previous episodes. Haven't done too much else changing, just I've expanded the farm a little bit. This will probably be the only auto farm piece. I may keep the rest just for when I need it, but this will probably be the auto farm. So I'll plant things in here that I want, I know I'm going to need a lot of. Like right now I've got a lot of cotton in there so that I can get a lot of string. And that helps me with the wool, and the wool helps me with the build, so there's a lot of stuff there. And it's very loud, though. That's one of the things. If you're going to build one of these, build it so it's not too close to wherever you're working most of the time, because it is loud. And I'm sure there's many more efficient ways to do it. I was bound and determined to find a reason to use these windmills because they look cool. All right, so we got our fried rice. I'm showing you our auto farm here and sprinkler system. We've seen that. Not too much has changed here. What I'm going to go ahead and do is maybe gather some materials. Again, this is really loud machinery. I'm going to have to quiet it down. No real automation in there yet. I've pretty much left that the same. The biggest thing I'm going to work on pretty soon is the quarry, and I'm going to go ahead and make that and expand that bigger. Instead of just one quarry running, I'm going to go ahead and run a couple of them. So far, it doesn't seem like I'm getting any different lag or any craziness from these machines thus far. If I start building stuff and automate it and it starts having trouble, I'll be sure to tell you guys. And then I'm hoping within the next few episodes that maybe I've got a special build I'm going to finish off with for today. This might be a little bit shorter episode. And then eventually I want to start really exploring this mountain area, which would be kind of cool. And again, more rotary craft machines. So we've seen how those are built, and those are in the book. Pretty easy. You can probably get to it pretty quick if you have plenty of iron. Really all we're using at that point is some windmills, which is kind of an expensive engine to make. But the nice thing is it's just an engine I don't have to worry about. It just turns on. I'm already in a high area, and it just goes. It doesn't have much torque, which is really probably the biggest problem, but it does have, 1,000 or at least 1K of rads, and puts out a decent amount of kilowatt just for what you're using it for. Other than that, the only other thing I was using it for was the farming. As you can see here, the fans. So I'm using those fans, and then just regular hoppers. So, the way I geared those up, those are all just straight gearing, so I didn't use any gears. Those are just shafts that run power down, and then some bevel gears that turn the power from, downward and back in. So that's about it. Definitely a lot of iron to make all of that. But I'm not having to use lubricant. I'm not having to supply it with fuel. So that's what's really nice about that. So let me gather my building materials, and I'll sleep the night away, and then we'll get in Little Bird, and we'll fly over, and I'll show you, and we'll start working on the new build. I don't really have a lot of food, but I'm going to go ahead and eat some rice because it just seems like a thing to do. Yummy. So, all right, let me put some stuff away, and let me gather just a few more of my building materials. And then what we'll do is we have a build for you today. A special build. Okay. Don't hit the door with anything that is a book or a bag. That is my tip of the day. All right. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Always love that sunset. All right, here we are at the docks, and what we're going to go ahead and do is I'm going to show you the first layer. Now this is going to be modified, and I know we talked a little bit about it, or you would have seen it in the last episode where I was having some trouble with the way the ships were decompiling, and it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to put 3 or 4 levels below the water like I was hoping, which would make the ship look really good. So we're just going to have to build it from kind of the nearish the water level up. So here's layer number 1. So I've got the helm on there just to test it out. As I build each layer, I'm going to smack the helm back down again and try it again. And then I'll bring you in as we do each layer. So stay tuned and we'll finish it up. All right, we have layer number 2, as you can see here. So this is layer number 2. And we'll bring you back in as we take a look at the next layer. All right, I finished the interior parts there so far. That's still kind of the second layer. I did want to mention that a couple of things while building this type of ship. Having one of these broadswords is really nice because as you hold it down, it charges up a charge forward, and you can kind of do a jump. Makes it nice and easy for an extra jump. You can use your jump boots, or even a jetpack would make this a little easier. So that's something you're probably going to want to have if you're attempting this in survival. And then material-wise, clay is a really good choice if you have access to a lot of dyes and clays. And what I did is I have the flower biome that's near me, so I have plenty of dyes. And then I also have a lot of clay because there's a swamp biome that I flew over to. And that was a good place to get a bunch of clay. And then just gray wool, or any type of wool really, you're going to have your own sheep farm going, so that's probably something you're going to want before you really get started. Especially if you're going to do Archimedes, one of the first things you're going to want to really set up is a sheep farming area, whether it's automated or you just have a bunch of them that you can shear really quickly, because you'll use a lot of those. I'm still using basalt because I still have a bunch of that from the boring machine, so just wanted to let you know that not all blocks from this mod will work with Archimedes. Sometimes you'll create the ship and then blocks will disappear if they're not compatible. So you might want to try to stick with, so far I've been sticking with mostly vanilla blocks. Some basalt does work, so I was using those. And the other thing I think I was using was, well, I think that's it so far. So mostly I'm trying to keep it pretty basic. So I just want to give you those tips. As you can see, we're starting to, on the mini map there in the top right corner, you can start to see the ship taking shape. In fact, the size of this is probably more like a boat, but you can maybe start to guess what it's going to be. If not, well, stay tuned as we keep going. Be back after I get some more built. All right, bringing you in for another look. We're got up to our 4th level here. We're starting to finish it out, adding details in. I'm going to go ahead and just finish off the rest of the build, and then I'll show you the end result. So far I've been testing it with Archimedes, and so far it's working. Eventually, if we hit that 2,000 block limit, we'll know pretty soon. We've used quite a few blocks so far, but so far so good. So stick with me. All right, we have the finished product, and may not be quite as pretty as Jag Thunder's original design, which is the design I used for this tugboat. He called it design number 2. I had to modify some parts of the design to make it work with Archimedes, so that's why there's some differences, but he's credited with all of the design. I'll put that in the link, and I'll link his channel. With Archimedes ships, the stairs change depending on the orientation. So I was using basalt stairs, but I think that's going to be fixed in later versions, I think. But let's give this a try. So here we are in tugboat. And now we should be cruising along. Kind of leaving the island behind. I'll slow back down. And then, so I can use this now for any type of ocean exploring I want to do. We're just going to back it back up to this shore buffer piece that I've got here. There we go. Everything looks good. Let's make sure we're aligned. Yep, looks like we're good. And we're all set. So test runs good. We didn't go over the 2,049 blocks, which is the limit. Doesn't look like we've lost any of our pieces. Just take a quick look. No, everything looks pretty good. I can put some chests on here and some other stuff now if I want. All right, so we've completed that build. Now we have a couple of helicopters and we have a tugboat, which is our kind of our exploration ship. So, all right. Let's see what else. Let me pause here, then we'll go ahead and bring you back in. All right, that's it for today. Just wanted to let you know that if you haven't checked out my new series, the Septum Memorial with McKernel and myself, then you should check that out on Sir Lucian YouTube channel. Bye-bye.